Welcome back to another video. This is the Football Connect. I'm your host Sam, and we are back again with another one. Of course, I know everyone you've already heard about the story. That we all know what has happened. We all know that the Arsenal captain is gonna be missing for some time, and I'm telling you, that's not a good thing that is really happening at the moment to Arsenal because they've just lost another player. Of course, we heard that the Calafuri will be okay, but another player already who's not actually gonna be there for the game, but now they lose their captain, then important player. Not only for some, I'm not sure how long, but that twist did not look so good at all when we saw it. Everyone saw the video, everyone saw what happened, and I'm sure Gunners are really wondering what is happening here because I'm more curious about the depth of the squad, more curious about how are they in the midfield and how can they deal with this problem that Arsenal are about to face because losing so many players at a single goal, it's never ideal for any team, especially facing a Tottenham Hotspurs and North London derby. One game you know that your rivals will really be active for this game. It's not a good thing. And to make matters worse, that game against Tottenham, they're going to Tottenham Hotspurs home ground. So it's already a dangerous place to go because of how the squad will be like. But losing your captain, losing your most important and expensive player, as well as losing your new signing, as well as your new defense signing. The only player who's fit right now in terms of the signings of Arsenal is actually Sterling. We need to talk about this, people. So, of course, the breaking news came from the news came out, and we did see that when it was announced that Arsenal might really be in trouble. And this was the story that we saw from Fabrizio Ramon, where he was actually showing the idea, when he was actually showing showing something that was interesting. Of course, Martin Odegaard has been subbed off after twisting his ankle with Norway tonight, and of course that he was just retweeting what he had said. The other thing that he said was Arsenal medical staff immediately in contact with Norway staff after Martin Odegaard's injury. Get well soon, Martin. Of course, we have to say that. So Norway coach, this is the most important part that I want you guys to listen to. Norway coach, I don't know how you pronounce that. Martin's injury looks bad in the dressing room as well. What? As well? That doesn't make sense. Okay, Martin Odegaard's injury looks bad in the dressing room. Norway doctors Ole Sande has gotten a small ankle spray. We will see. Maybe we use ultrasound to look at it. If we are sure there will be an MRI tomorrow, said the doctor, of course, of Norway. And of course, we've been told that the Arsenal medic department, in terms of like the player, the people who actually takes time to actually look at this are on the situation, looking at if there's anything that has happened which is terrible. I cannot show you that video. I don't want to be in trouble. Trust me, I don't want to be in trouble. So this is an interesting read that we're just going to have to do before we get into this one. So Arsenal have been dealt with more bad news ahead of the North London derby. Captain Martin Odegaard limped off at 67 minutes for Norway with an ankle injury that could see him miss the trip to Tottenham Hotspurs. The Gunners are already without Declan Rice, who is suspended, and summer signing Mikel Moreno after he picked up a shoulder injury in the training, while Riccardo Calafori also returned to the club to be assessed after leaving the Italian camp due to an injury. Of course, we all know that. Mikel Arteta now has some choice to make. This is important. He could use Kai Havertz further back and allow either Gabriel or Raheem Sterling to take his place in the attack, or he could draft Zinchenko alongside Thomas Partey and Jorginho in the midfield. 3. Remember, this is where he has to play. Remember, this is where he has been playing for the national team, of course, of what's the name of that team? Of course, by the way, that's Zinchenko that they're talking about. Or if he wants to throw a spanner in works, he could move to the three at. If he wants to throw a spanner in the works, he could move to a three at the back due to the incredible facility he has in his squad. What do you think? Like maybe having four players up front. Of course, that means Ben White move forward, or maybe Ben White stays as one of the players that are at the back, but also have one player that moves forward to play that position. But on an honest situation, people, this is a bad news for us now because I don't think that they even expected to be dealing with so many injuries like this already in the international break. We're talking about three players who are potentially out for the Gunners when they're about to start playing some of the serious games. Of course, we talked about the Brighton game being a serious game, but not to the level of the game that they're about to face. Because let me just give you some games that they have to deal with, because of course there could be rumors that as Martin Odegaard could be out, and the Declan Rice, I don't know, he could be back in. You never know. They have to check in terms of looking at how the ankle has been spread and everything that is happening. But the problem that we actually have to talk about is the immediate problem that on Sunday, 4 days away right now as we speak, because it's already on a Tuesday, 4 days, or maybe, is it 4 days or maybe 5 days away from now, Arsenal has to play Tottenham Hotspurs, and they're playing them at the home ground of Tottenham Hotspurs. There's nothing that puts any pressure to any team dealing with your closest rivals with not actually 100% fit squad to play with us. We're already seeing people like Expression making jokes about how they prayed for situations like this. This is a problem, and with the injury that we saw from Martin Odegaard, it could be longer. We have to wait for the experts to actually give us a better assessment over how the situation is like. But one thing that you have to look at, we have to look at how many games that Arsenal have to be ready for this. Of course, Declan Rice is just missing one game, so it means the next game he'll be back. But I'm actually more interested in hearing what your thoughts are over the games that Arsenal are going to have to be playing without their captain, because I feel like Martin Odegaard is really important, not only just as a player, but as well as the captain for the squad. He has really been very, very pivotal to everything that this team has been doing, building up and creating amazing in terms of chemistry with the likes of Saka. We always talk about how pivotal the right side of us now is, joining Ben White, Martin Odegaard, and Saka in destroying and opening up opponents and taking advantage of that and actually hitting teams on the counter. It's really important to see what happens here. Of course, they have Ryan Sterling, who's going to be playing on the left, they can use on the pace, but we are talking about the midfield depth. We all know for a fact, just losing Declan Rice for this game, which we all knew that defensively Arsenal were not going to be 100%. We all knew this thing. Of course, it might scare so many people, maybe so many Arsenal fans, but we all knew this going into the game, that after losing Declan Rice, they are not 100% strong in the defense as well as going forward. Now we are talking about them as well losing their club captain, the creator, the magician, according to some of the people who actually watch this guy week in and week out, how much is really pivotal to help Arsenal actually be a problem to deal with at the end of this game. Of course, Sunday game is the most important game, but look at this. After the 15th, on the 19th, they're playing Atalanta. Can he be back? That's the question that everyone has to be asking themselves, as well as Manchester City on the 22nd of September. That's just about a few days of this one. So they better hope that their visit to Man City, they are able to have their captain back. Because I'm telling you, we saw how Man City have started this season. They are playing like a team on fire. They can hurt any team going into this one. So we don't want to really hope that goes that far, because after this one is Bolton, of course, that's an easy game. Leicester City, PSG, Southampton, Bournemouth, and of course the Liverpool on the 27th of October. I'm sure that situations like this would have already been dealt with, but one thing that we have to wait on is the scan to know what the doctors are saying in relation to seeing how far Odegaard could be out. But trust me, my prayer, if I'm an Arsenal fan, is that we don't reach that City game without the captain. We don't reach that City game without actually a better squad that is fit to perform, because I'm sure that with Tottenham Hotspurs, they're neither hot or cold. That's the problem with Tottenham Hotspurs. They are never there are problems with Tottenham Hotspurs. Of course, they might turn it up for this game because it's the North London derby, but they are a bit of less surprises or maybe fear over dealing with Tottenham Hotspurs than I would actually be worried dealing with Man City. The Atlanta game, it's another game on its own, and we will talk about that when we reach that hurdle. But at this moment, Arsenal have to find a way to deal without their captain on the North London derby, but also hoping that it does not go as far as to this game, because this game is really important. Playing against, sorry for that. Playing against Man City on the 22 at the Etihad, this game could cause chaos. And people, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What are you expecting? Because in terms of depth, let me do this. Let me go to the squad that we saw of Arsenal in the last game, and I'm gonna try to revisit and maybe look at the bench that Arsenal had on the game that they draw against Brighton, and I want to see how maybe with the players that we can see that Mikel Arteta has already been trusting, putting them in the bench, hoping that they are very, very pivotal to help him do this. Because you can win a game. It takes so many games to win for you to win the league, but it's also easy to lose the league in the first games, especially the first 10 games of the season. You can lose it, and I don't think, since we have seen Arsenal rising to the standard that they are at, they've actually faced a challenge of losing so many players at the same time, because this, I think, is going to be the biggest challenge that Mikel Arteta has to deal with without actually having enough of the players he needs to actually compete. And he has to find himself playing with the biggest rivals in terms of the closest rivals in Tottenham Hotspur, as well as the biggest rivals in the title race, which is Manchester City. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I know I'm here. That's me talking up to the Man City game, because I'm thinking of what I saw in terms of that angle spray. And I actually feel like whatever we're going to try to say, whatever we're going to try to give ourselves in terms of the benefit of the doubt, in terms of trying to motivate ourselves in the situation, we all know for a fact that Martin Odegaard, if he is going to be close to be fit on the City game, he might be a doubt on the game, not 100% in the game. So that's where the worrisome is. But I'm actually here to see the game that Arsenal played against Brighton, and I'm only interested to see the team that they were dealing with in terms of the players that were in the squad, in terms of the substitutions, and who can we say is fit enough to be coming in and maybe playing for Arsenal. Look at this team. Of course, their strongest team, of course, consists of this. I'm not expecting a lot to change in this starting lineup. I expect them to, or I expect, the only thing that I expect is, of course, to see Kai Havertz coming this side next to Declan Rice, to that Declan Rice position, but also maybe Jorginho comes here and becomes the controller there, and maybe Partey goes on the Declan Rice position, then Kai Havertz goes on the other side. But with these two, when we're talking about Jorginho and Partey, we are talking about a team which is lacking legs. They might do well in terms of attacking, in terms of everything, but in terms of when they hit on the counter, covering the pace to take advantage, the energy that we see from the likes of Declan Rice, and in terms of creation, what we have come to see over when we are looking at the situation of what this guy, what's his name, what Martin Odegaard does in terms of creating something, it is a problem. So I wonder how are they going to deal with. Let's look at the bench. Let's look at Arsenal's bench. We have, of course, Martinelli. We have Zinchenko, Ricardo Calafoli, who could be a doubt in this game because he had to go back because of an injury. Kivio is a defender. Jorginho, the one that I think can actually come in, as well as Tommy Stamford. I don't even know who this kid is. Malen, is this Louis Shinky or something? Ethan Manueri, I've gotten to see a bit of him in terms of him playing for Arsenal in the friendlies that they were playing in the league. Then we have Salah Eden, is it Oka, something like that. So this is the bench squad that Arsenal have. The only player I can see coming into the game in the midfield is Jorginho from this team. It's Jorginho. I don't see other players coming from this one. Let's hope that the shoulder injury that maybe Moreno suffered from could be fast. Because one thing that I wanted to say to the Arsenal fans, I'm not going to waste time hoping that maybe we see a better performance, hoping that maybe we see an amazing performance where we do see a Moreno comes in and actually becomes the player that we expect him to be. But also we're talking about North London Derby. We're talking about a Tottenham Hotspurs. In fact, I think to make it even make sense, let me put out the Tottenham Hotspur squad, which played against Newcastle and they lost by the to Newcastle, which is really important. And let's look at how the team is like, and let's look about the depth of how they can take advantage of this, because some of these players did not go for international friendly. They're in there. I'm talking about the likes of James Maddison. I'm talking about all the players that are there. But look at the Tottenham Hotspur squad that started against this team, what we call it, Newcastle, in a game that they lost. So it's really important that I repeat that it's a game that they lost, and of course you might not expect a lot from this, but this from a game that they lost. So this is how they set up the team. They had Maddison, Bentancur, and Saha in there. They can also, Solanke might come in. Oh, this is against Leicester City. I'm actually not interested in the Leicester. I need the Newcastle game, because I think the Newcastle game is the closest that gives us direction over what is wrong with this Tottenham Hotspurs team. So look at it. Of course, Kulusevski had to play as a full snap because Solanke was injured, who, by the way, we know now is fit, so he'll be back there. Kulusevski will be going back on his right side. Son will be playing there. Maddison will be the number 10 position. We'll have Besuma as well, Sa here. Those are the players that I'm expecting to see. Udoji, that one. I'm not saying that this Arsenal team is a strong one. They might suffer from Arsenal in terms of the headers, into when they're in the attack, in terms of the way Arsenal deals with their headers. But looking at that team in the midfield, who wins a midfield battle when now we have to talk about a 31-year-old Thomas Partey, or maybe talk about a Jorginho, is it 30-something, Jorginho, as well as maybe a Kai Havertz, a player who some people think that his actually his best position is actually up front rather than to be played backwards. So it's going to be interesting to see how the situation plays out, because it might shock us. Arsenal might shock us, really. And as you can hear, Mr. Sky Guy 563 games said that Arsenal is cooked. That's the honest truth, people, because it is a worrisome. Looking at all the players that are out, I fear for the worst. And I'm just hoping that maybe they can recover from this. That's why I'm saying that you can win a league. You can win a league in a long period of time, but it's easy to lose a league when you lose your footing, your first start. Imagine, let's just give a crazy scenario here. Let's just give a crazy scenario here. Looking at how the league is looking like at the moment, let's give a crazy scenario looking at this Arsenal squad, which is going to be missing a lot of players. So this is the scenario that I'm putting out. Look at the league. Let's look at the league. Let's look at the league. Let's look at the league. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the league standing right now as we speak in the Premier League, because I think it's really important to have an idea of how these teams look like and what could happen. So Manchester City on top, of course. They're on top of the league. And look at this. They're on 9 points, both of them with Liverpool. These are two teams that were actually in contention in terms of fighting for the league before Liverpool decided to focus on other things. You understand what I mean? So they're 9 points. Arsenal already on 7, sharing with Bournemouth after the draw that they suffered in the hands of Bournemouth. They're missing Martin Odegaard. Let's just say in this crazy scenario, Tottenham Hotspurs either draw with the Arsenal or beat them. then Man City and Liverpool win. It means that for Man City, they are going to be on 12, Liverpool 12, and Arsenal will be on 8. Or if they lose the game, they will remain there. So, say whatever you're going to say. 12 minus 7 or minus 8, that's a lot of points to have already lost in your first 4 games if you're fighting for the title. If you're fighting for the title, that's a lot that you have already lost. And I just wonder, how do they find maybe that balance, that direction to help the team to at least try to focus and keep fighting for the titles that they're hoping that they actually achieve at the end of the day. So it's gonna be a scary time if you're an Arsenal fan. It's gonna be really, really crazy, because looking at your bench, looking at your reinforcement, you are not really the best right now in the league. And I think that could be the mistake that Mikel Arteta suffers from when it comes to the season. And I'm just hoping all the best to Martin Odegaard. Let's hope that he recovers. And of course, Declan Rice, we already know, is out for the game against Spurs. Martin Odegaard is just adding salt into the injury. It's like putting on salt into the injury. So that's a problem. I don't know. What are you seeing from us now? Do you think that they have the chance to overcome this? Because I think Mikel Arteta has an opportunity to prove that he could be one of the best managers in the Premier League if he's able to deal with this. And I just wonder that how far would that go? There is somebody that I've come to love, that I always listen to in terms of analysis of injuries and everything that is happening. And there is his assessment looking at that injury that Martin Odegaard suffered from. Let me put it into him so that I read what he had to say, looking at what he saw as by the way, he's a doctor. So what he says is literally the news. He's giving us an analysis of what he thinks is happening here. So it's interesting to see how the things will look like. But look what he said. He's saying, let's read that to all of you people. Martin Odegaard was forced off for the Norway with an ankle injury. Video bringing consent for a later ankle spray due to a plaster reflex and the intervention of the ankle. The spray usually looks worse than the area they are. Oh, so the sprains always usually looks worse than they are, and they facilitate a quick recovery, less than a week, which could mean he could be fit for the North London derby. If this is what he's saying, if it's facilitated, it could be a quick recovery, less than a week, which could mean he could be fit for the North London derby. Likely a recovery time fit for Arsenal versus Spurs, but if scan shows ligament damage, he might be out for a few weeks. If ankle ligament is damaged, 3 to 4 weeks. So 3 to 4 weeks, according to what we were looking at in the games that we were looking at, which are the Arsenal games. If there is that that ligament that we are just being told by this guy, it means for Martin Odegaard it's literally bye-bye for these games. Sorry, it's taking time for me to go back to the game that I want to show. It will mean that for Martin Odegaard, he's literally saying bye-bye to these games. I'm not yet back then. So if it's a 3-week or 4-week period out, it means that the first week, it means he'll miss the Tottenham Hotspurs game, the Atlanta game, the Man City game. That'll be the first week. The Bolton game, the Leicester game, which comes in, that'll be the second week. The PSG as well, the Southampton, that'll be the third week. If he's fit on the third week, then it means he's back. But if it goes to the 4th week, then it means he'll miss the Bournemouth game. So those are all the games that is going to miss, close to actually reaching the Shakhtar Donetsk, which is going to be played, then the Liverpool before. So let's just hope for the best. That's all I can say. Scan will rule out fracture, however, looked unlikely as he was able to weight bear when he was leaving the ground, according to what we are being shown here. This is how the leg actually moved. So this is really terrible, people. I'm just hoping that there is a better alternative and is actually good. Let's hope that there's no problems. So additional extreme condition concerning comments were posted in the Norwich dressing room, looking at the state of Odegaard's injury. Looked bad in the dressing room as well, but he got a small ankle spray, and we are sure there will be an MRI tomorrow. Typically, a small ankle spray facilitate a quick recovery, so that's a good thing. Of less than a week, the fact that the staff are also unsure about and are using an MRI confirms that confirms the injury. It is an indication that the injury is not severe. Pretty optimistic, and this is a quick recovery due to the smaller spray. Comment: Odegaard is likely to be fit for the North London derby, but it all depends on how fast it settles, whatever the spray is. So this is a guy that I trust, people. I've always watched him do some interesting analysis over every single injury that has been happening in the Premier League, and every single time he talks about an injury, he talks about something, you always find out that that's exactly the thing that will happen at the end of the day. So that is a big glimpse of hope to all the Arsenal fans who were feeling sick over what we have seen. But with what this guy is saying, that he could be fit for the North London derby, it's going to be really, really important if it's just a small spray. But one thing that I fear as well, I hope that they manage his workload in terms of his training and everything that will be happening, so that he doesn't go in that game with so much that might actually make situations worse, that maybe the injury might even get worse than it is already. This is something that Arsenal fans could be hopeful for, but let's find out. There's still so much time to see what actually happens when it comes to the situations of Martin Odegaard. But all I can say to you people, that this is going to be an interesting topic to keep an eye on. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let's find out after the scan tomorrow how long Martin Odegaard will be out from the professionals who are actually with him. This was somebody who was looking and actually listening to the comments that are coming out, which he just gave his own analysis over the situation. But there is a glimmer of hope. So if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm going down on my knees and I'm praying. It's really, really important that this guy is back fit and he helps the team to achieve what they want to achieve this season. So thank you very much for watching, people. This has been the Football Connect. Let's hope for the best for Martin Odegaard, who went out on the 60-something minute with an injury. And I'm sure he's flying to Arsenal back, because I think that was the last game for Norwich. Norway? I think not Norwich, Norway. Now we look at what happens next. Click the like button, subscribe to the Football Connect, and it's looking like, Arsenal fans, you might start praying right now. It looks like there's a glimpse of hope, but the glimpse of hope is all that is here. I'm out. Like the vid, subscribe, go check out the Football Connect LFC. As you can see here, there is that small thing that you're seeing that is on the screen. Check it out. It's the Football Connect LFC on YouTube. If you just type those things that are there, then you're there. Go to support the Football Connect. It's important as we continue to put on some interesting content, analyzing everything that is happening, as well as building up the game between Liverpool versus which team are we actually playing against? Because I'm kind of lost right now. I'm kind of lost. So let me just look at that right now as I'm talking to you. So Liverpool will be playing against, it's not like I don't know the team, it's just that at the moment my brain is not thinking. We've been talking about the Odegaard situation. So Liverpool will be playing against Nottingham Forest on Saturday in the afternoon. It's going to be one of those games that are played in the Go Rush. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting. Let's find out what happens. So the build-up will be happening on the Football Connect LFC. Then also remember the build-up between Arsenal versus Tottenham Hotspurs will be coming on Thursday. I hope you're excited, as well as my review of all the games, giving you my predictions and everything that I'm expecting. So enjoy your time, people. And if you're an Arsenal fan, there is a glimpse of hope over that injury that Martin Odegaard suffered. So there could be some excitement here. So be excited, people, because this might actually be nothing. I'm out. Like the video, subscribe to Connect. We'll see you on another way out. Peace. Subscribe to the Connect.
Beats the goalkeeper. You're just lost for words. He is just brilliant. Georgie Best, Diego Maradona, Johan Cruyff.